This is Matt Granger, that Nikon guy for mattgranger.com. Now, unfortunately, we all have budgets, and when you're getting started, a common dilemma is whether or not you should spend your money on the body or the lens. So today I want to compare using what I call a toy body with a pro lens, or a pro body with a toy lens. Did I get that right? Yeah, so we're going to mix it up. So, from what I've observed, most amateurs go for the best body they can get and use cheap lenses. And ask most pros, myself included, and they'll tell you should spend your money on your lenses if you have to choose. But most pros don't need to make that choice, and that's good advice, but it doesn't mean that they're not using pro bodies. And I don't know about others, but I never did the actual test. So today I'm going to go out and actually compare it, show you the results, and see what we come up with. So for my toy equipment, excuse me, I'm using the Nikon D5000 body and the 55-200 f4 to 5.6 VR lens. For my pro gear, I'll be using the D700 and the 70-200 VR2. The D5000 was released in 2009. It's got a DX 12.3 megapixel sensor. It does HD video. I'm shooting it on it now. It has a vari-angle monitor where you can tilt them around. It has an 11-point autofocus system and built-in dust reduction. It weighs 560 grams, takes a SD card, and when they came out, I think they were around $800. Now the AFS VR 55-200 f4 to 5.6 lens was released in 2007. It has one ED glass element. It weighs 335 grams and it takes 52mm filter. That costs around $300. You can still buy them. Now for the pro equipment, the D700 was released way back in 2008. It's got an FX 12.1 megapixel sensor, so a little bit lower resolution. It doesn't do video. It doesn't have the variable monitor. It's just got a VGA fixed monitor. It's got a 95% viewfinder, 51-point autofocus system. It weighs 995 grams. It takes compact flash card, and that still costs around $2,800. And the VR2 70-200 lens, this was released around the end of 2009, early 2010. It has 7 ED glass elements, nano crystal coating. It weighs 1.5 kilos and it takes a 77mm filter thread, and that costs $2,900. So you can see the differences in those lenses is quite big. This one extends when you zoom, this one doesn't. The D700 and the 70-200 both made in Japan. The D5000 is made in in Thailand, and the lens is made in China. So the combos I'm going to be using then is the D5000 with the 70-200. The total weight of that is 2 kilos and comes in at around $3,700. And option B, the pro body and cheap glass, is the D700 with the 55-200. That weighs, it's lighter, 1.4 kilos, and cheaper, $3,100. So I haven't gone for the real extremes at each end in terms of body, but in terms of lenses, I have gone for quite a big extreme. The reason is you're really not going to be tossing up between anything above a D700 and an entry-level body, so I think this is more of a realistic comparison.
Okay, so I've come outside to compare the two setups. I've got the D700 with the 55-200 and the D5000 with the 70-200. Now I'm using the black rapid using the mounting point on the lens as a reminder to myself that with such a heavy lens and cheap body, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the mount if I was holding it by the body and letting all that weight swing off it. I was speaking to a repairer at Nikon and he said that the majority of damage they get to DSLRs is to the mount of the camera, so keep that in mind. Even if I was using this lens on this body, I wouldn't just have it hanging around my neck with a heavy lens off the front. I'm going to be shooting at my little African friend here. Thanks to Mum, she brought this back from South Africa for us. So let's go through some test shots. Okay, so for both of them, I've got them set in raw capture. They're on minus 1/3 of a stop compensation. They're both going to start out on f5.6 at 200mm, and I've got them on neutral color balance and automatic white balance. And then I'll just put them through a simple edit and then see how it comes up. So let's try this one. This is at 200 f5.6. Okay, I'll just put that out to f8 to show you if there's any difference. Okay, now I'll switch over. Actually, whilst I've got it, I'll do one at 70 down at f4.2, which is what this one will allow me to do. And I'll come in a little bit closer. I won't let me focus that close. Okay, beautiful. Now I'm going to switch cameras. Pop this over here. And again, we're at 5.6 at 200. Bit of safety. Okay, wind that out to f8. Except this one doesn't have a front dial, so I just went to turn that and turn the camera off. Awesome. Okay, at f8. Okay, now because I'm shooting these at ISO 200, I think I just took that one at about 1/60th of a second, so 200mm on a cheaper VR, that may show up. We'll see how we go. Now we'll take this down to 70. Actually, I'll do it at 200, but we'll do this one at 2.8 so you can really see the difference. Okay, beautiful. And now we'll take it back to 70, and the other one I think was at 4.2, so let's pop this one on 4.5. Okay, so that's all done. We'll go back inside and I'll show you the video, the images and full crops. It's been really crappy weather today here, and I'm worried it's going to start raining again. Normally I wouldn't worry about that sort of thing, but given I've got a cheap lens and cheap body in the mix, they're not fully waterproof, so I don't want to get them wet, especially seeing they're not mine. Okay, first up we've got the two lenses zoomed out to 200 at 5.6. So here we go. This is the D700 with the 55 to 200 and at full resolution at 100% crop. Now you can see this is as much a failing of my technique as the equipment. There's some camera shake in there, but it's also not that sharp anyway. Now compare it to the D5000, which doesn't have the same high ISO performance as the D700, and then the 100% crop on that, and that's pin sharp. So that's to do with the better optics and the much improved VR. So they're at the same speed. It's a much heavier lens. There was, just as much chance to screw it up, but with this one, nailed it. Okay, now here we are at 70mm. This is on the D700 with the cheaper lens, and then at full crop. So you can see that's a lot sharper, no camera shake in that one. The D700 has handled the high ISO beautifully. The background is very nice. Now have a look at the D5000 with the 70 to 200. Again, very nice. And then the 100% on that. Now, for me, there's a little bit more digital noise coming in here compared to the D700. Not to be no surprise there. But I do think the colors in the background, the out of focus areas using this more expensive lens definitely win. Okay, a couple of other comparisons I did today. So here's just a shot from the inside of a patisserie with the D700, and then the D5000 with the more expensive lens. Here we are comparing a wedding dress. This is on the D700 with the cheap lens, and the D5000 with the more expensive lens. And we'll finish up with some flowers. So here is the D700 on a bird of paradise and the 100% crop. Here's the D5000 with the 70 to 200 and 100% crop. And again, as before, more noise on the D5000, but I do think the background's rendered more nicely. And then here is a dying rose, D700. And here we are with the D5000. And for me, you know, even though that's a much cheaper body, just look at the tones that are in there. It's beautiful, and that's really thanks to the superior optics. The settings on the camera were pretty much the same.
Okay, so what did you think overall? Leave me a comment and let me know. Personally, the good glass wins out for me. It gave a better overall effect. Both cameras have a metal mount on the body, but with Pro bodies that's part of an overall full metal body, whereas on the cheaper ones it's a metal mount attached to a plastic body. Cheap lenses have cheap mounts. Here's the mount on the 55 to 200, it's all plastic, and the mount on the 70 to 200, like everything on this lens except for the hood, it's made of steel. And to demonstrate, take a look at this one. Here's a close-up. The 18 to 55 from my friend loaned me. It's actually out of action because they dropped the camera and the mount just broke. Okay, with Pro gear, especially the Pro bodies, you're not just paying for extra megapixels and image quality. You're not even just paying for the jump from DX to FX. I've done a video on that, on Is Bigger Better, so you can check that out. The technology does filter down to other cameras, and the D5000 has a really fantastic sensor, as some of those images demonstrated. When you're going up to a Pro body, you're paying for build quality, reliability, precision and features. And if you're out in all kinds of weather, shooting thousands of frames a day, that really matters. But if you're just learning, taking photos on holidays, of your family, friends, at dinner parties, you most likely don't. Now, is having a huge 70 to 200 on a tiny little body overkill? Yeah, probably. But, you know, something more versatile like a 24 to 70 would be better off for you to start off with, but still go for the Pro one. Overall, getting a cheaper current generation body and the best lens you can buy is your best option. Buying an FX lens, whilst you're paying a premium at the start that you're not really utilizing, if you do progress with your photography and decide that you want to step up to an FX body, then you don't need to replace all of your lenses, and that can be a huge proposition, upgrading your whole kit. Nikon offers a clear and really good mid-step here. Something like the 18 to 200 VR2 is a fantastic lens. It's an all-rounder. It's not as good as the 70 to 200 or the 24 to 70, but it's a clear step in terms of image quality and build quality between the cheap plastic kit lenses and the real Pro stuff. So check out the VR2 or get a used original generation VR offline. I've shot thousands of frames with one and they're really great. I hope you've enjoyed that. Thumb me if you did. Leave me a comment and see you next time. This has been Matt Granger, that Nikon guy, for mattgranger.com.